If you look at the next one, we've got even more blanks we get to fill in. So this one, you really do have to know the logic that they used all the way through the proof in order to be able to fill it out. So here they tell us that angle TUX and angle UXW are supplementary. So this is our given. So this is where we start. And they want us to complete the proof that WY is parallel to line TV. So that's where we want to end, so that's our proof. So right here, we want to prove things parallel. That's going to be converse. So the very first step, TUX and UXW are supplementary. That's what we start with, or that's what we're given. So that's going to be our given. And this is the only step that's going to be given. Okay, so looking at the next step, they go from having TUX. TUX is right here. And UXW. They go from having them written as supplementary to say that TUX plus UXW equals 180 degrees. Well, how did they go from saying that they're supplementary to saying that they're 180 degrees? Well, we know supplementary means two angles that add up to be 180 degrees, and that's exactly what's happened here. So let's go back and look at our list of things that it could be. Well, where does it mean supplementary? Well, when we're using mean, we're always looking at definition. If that's what something means, that's our definition of supplementary. All right, looking at the next one. So those equal to 180. I'm going to want corresponding angles somewhere. So in order to have corresponding angles, they give us SUT plus TUX. TUX is equal to 180 degrees. So that angle is going to be with that angle right there. So we know, looking right here, that those equal to 180 degrees because those are linear pair. And if we look at our list for linear pair, it's going to be angles forming a linear pair sum to 180 degrees. Looking at the next group, we've got TUX plus UXW. So I'm going to look for where that is in my proof. So there's TUX plus UXW, and there's another TUX plus UXW, and it's equal to 180. So if this is what they're bringing down, instead of 180 degrees, there's 180 degrees, they wrote SUT plus the measure of angle TUX. So instead of the 180, they wrote SUT plus the measure of angle TUX. So instead of this, they wrote that. That's our substitution property. And then from there to there, there's UXW still there. There's SUT still there. And so this one disappeared and that one disappeared, and the reason why it did was they subtracted the TUX from both sides, and subtracting the same thing from both sides is our subtraction property of equality, or algebra. And then from there, if I check out UXW, so that one right there, and SUT, that one right there, those two angles are corresponding angles. So this is the converse of the corresponding angle postulate. Looking at the next example, you're going to notice that you're going to get to the point where they're going to tell you to add a line. Just because they give you the option for adding a line doesn't mean you have to. So don't just think just because they put that add a line button in there that you're going to need to be doing that. So looking at this one, complete the proof that that one is parallel to that one. So there's our given where we start, and then this last step, if it is the last step, should be this. Okay, so somewhere in there, this is going to need to go in there. So let's look at what they did. They tell us the angle QST is congruent to UVX, and they tell us that that's the given. Then they tell us that QST, so this one right there, is congruent to angle RSV. So they're telling us that this angle is congruent to that angle because of vertical angle theorem, and yes, they are vertical angles, so that works. And then they tell us that angle UVX, so this angle right here, is congruent to angle RSV, that angle right there. Well, we don't have any way to say for sure that they're related there because we don't know those two lines are parallel. If these two lines were parallel, we could say, yeah, that's going to be our corresponding angles, but we don't know they are parallel, so we can't use that. So it has to come from somewhere up here. So kept the RSV, didn't keep the QST. Instead of a QST, they wrote UVX. So that's the transitive property of congruence, and if this were a drop-down box, it would also take substitution property. So here, now in this step, I've shown that two corresponding angles are congruent because this is UVX, it's RSV. Right here by the transitive property or substitution, we know for sure they're congruent. And if you can show that two corresponding angles are congruent, you can say that the lines are parallel. So RT is parallel to UW, and it's going to give you a drop-down box for you to type all this stuff in with, and you've got to include the line symbols and the parallel and all that good stuff. And this is and since we proved parallel, it's the converse of the corresponding angle postulate.